Attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hey everyone, it's Brian Kaz here, joined by my friend and business partner, Sean Casey. We have another Wednesday marketing webinar for you today. But first, I'd like to, again, wish that you all had a great New Year's and Christmas and all that, or whatever you may celebrate. So hopefully that all went well for all of you. And we're officially off to a new year now, so that's exciting time. So what we thought we'd do on this call is we sent out a couple emails prior, basically asking you guys to send in any questions and stuff that you had pertaining to like any goals or things that you might want to reach this year, or any advice or help that you guys need to kind of get the year off to a good start. So we basically wrote down a bunch of the questions here, and we'll basically answer them here. And if you have any other questions, you can feel free to ask those as well. And we have some time at the end to basically answer any additional questions. And you also still have a chance to win $100 cash live at the end of this call too. And we'll give you some instructions on that in just a bit. And I know most of you know this, but for those that are new, these calls are every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We'll have a live training and or Q&A call. If you're here or you're registered for this series, you'll get a reminder each week, so don't forget. But if you can't make one, we'll have the recordings in the members area within a day of any of the calls under the training tab on the left side navigation bar. So you'd click on training, then you click on Wednesday calls, and you'll see the most recent ones at the very, very top. This one you should see either by the end of today or by tomorrow at the latest, because they take usually a little bit to render and throw on up there, but you'll see those there, or you'll see this here shortly. And if you want to win $100 today, make sure to join our free Facebook group, which you can get to if you go to getwebfire.com/FB group. Again, that's just getwebfire.com/FB group. If you're not already a free member, just click join. That will just forward you to the Facebook group page. And if you do so very, very soon, Sharon will probably approve you within like a minute or two. She's on this call to help with that. And towards the end of this call, I'll give you instructions on what to do to get that chance to win $100 today. Now let's move on to our training for this week on our extended Q&A. So what we'll do today, we'll basically answer the questions that were sent in, and then if you have any other live questions that basically you thought of but maybe didn't send in, you can ask those, and we'll try to answer as many of those as we can. Then we'll give away some cash. So on to the questions. One of the ones we got right here were someone asked, what are some tips for writing reviews to make extra income? Well, we actually covered this on a couple different calls in the past. So when we talk about like affiliate marketing, and there's even one where we talk about reviews, if you search those, you can find some calls devoted to that. But the super easy rule of thumb is you basically want to follow a few steps. First, make sure that the products that you're an affiliate for, that you're writing a review on, actually get sales and are popular. If you write a review on a product that no one's really buying or searching for, you can have the best review possible, written absolutely perfectly, and you still won't make any sales. It's like writing a review on an underwater basket weaving course that no one is looking to buy anyway. So it doesn't really matter how good or bad the course was, if no one's buying it, you're basically out of luck. So you want to make sure that you're first basically going for products that are making sales. One easy way to basically look for that is, even if you search on like basically Amazon or ClickBank and stuff like that, you can sort by popularity and kind of see which ones are making sales. So it's not too hard. And also use common sense to a point. If it's something that you've never heard of, most likely it's not really doing too hot. Whereas if it's something that appears to be selling well, people are talking about it online, that's probably a good indicator that people are buying it. Also, if they're running ads That's another good way to kind of know that, hey, most likely they're spending money to try to drive traffic and get sales. So there's, active people looking to buy it right now that you can basically piggyback off the ads that they are running now. But as far as the review itself, I recommend doing two things. One, on the blog post title or the review page title that you have, make sure that you target keywords that not only people are searching for, but that you have a good chance of ranking. So what I usually do is I first look for like the obvious one, like product name, review. That's the most obvious one, but sometimes it's what everyone else thinks of too. And if there's like, more than like 3 or so results on page 1 of Google that contain that exact phrase in their title tag or in that blue link that you basically click on, and we don't count sponsored ads, just the organic results, you probably want to pass on that because it might be a bit tough, especially if there's like 6 or 7 out of 10 that have that exact phrase in their title. You're going to have a tough time. Not necessarily impossible, but you're up against competition then. Whereas if there's like usually less than 3, you have a very good chance of ranking. And then if one seems too tough there, you could try for less search terms, but that still might be easy, like review of that, or product review 2018, because less people will search for the 2018, but it's still relevant and there might be less competition, and you might yank some traffic off of that. You could also look for product 1 versus product 2 review and just write that in the title and basically compare maybe 2 popular products that people might be trying to look for comparisons of. But when you write the review itself, you don't want to have it be that long. You usually just want like a few lines at the top that sum up what the product or products are, and then usually have like a bullet point list of the pros and cons. And don't have it be like, if you really like a product, you don't have to say everything's great. In fact, the more honest you are, the more people are likely to believe you. So have legitimately have some good pros and cons, and then after that have kind of like a conclusion where you sum up what your thoughts are. So even though there might be some downsides, you might say, despite these couple of downsides, the pros far outweigh the cons here, and for the for the value that you get for the cost, this offer can't be beat, and a lot of the cons you won't really even notice, yada yada. So in conclusion, I highly recommend that you grab this if blah 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 blah. And then after that, you want to have a clear call to action where you specifically say, like, click here to get the best price on yada yada yada, whatever the product is. And you want to have that entire line be a link. So and you want to specifically say, click here to get the best price on blah blah, or anything like that, but you want to make sure to say click here, because if you just have a link, a lot of people don't think to click there. I know people like us know that usually a link is blue and it has like an underline on it, but not everyone necessarily knows that. So the more clear you are there, the more clicks you'll get and the more sales you'll get too. So that by itself will help you out a great deal. You could also turn that into a video and submit it on YouTube and do the exact same thing, like have those keywords in the title and stuff, and again check not only instead of just basically looking on Google, you can also look on YouTube just to see how many basically videos in a search contain that exact phrase in their title, and if there's not a ton, you have a very good chance there. So just keep that in mind, and if you have a video as well as a blog post, you greatly increase your chances of getting guys to see that right there. And then of course, if you want to go the extra mile, I mean, that by itself can work great, but if you want to go the extra mile, you can look for people online asking questions about the product or products and then basically answering them. Give them like maybe a couple pros and cons right there in your reply on forums or blogs or stuff like that, or Q&A sites, and then kind of drive them to your full review if they're interested in seeing what else you had to say. That can be a great way to not only get backlinks, but to target prospects too, and not only basically target that, a handful of people on those sites right then, but well into the future, people might happen across that person's question, see your response, because a lot of times those questions and stuff get ranked, and over time that can drive a lot more traffic than you could probably think. So yeah, that by itself can be a great way to kind of give you like basically a triple advantage, where you get an extra boost of traffic right then, you get an extra boost of traffic in the future, and you get extra backlinks to help with your normal rankings too. All right, another one here is, what are a couple underutilized ways of making money online that you think more people should do but don't? So I think what they're trying to basically ask there is, what are some things that we think can work really well, but a lot of people don't do for whatever reason? And there's a bunch of things I think people underutilize, but two things come to mind. One is more of like an obvious one. I think a lot of people don't really look at paid traffic as much because they're afraid to spend money. But you have to think of it like, how do you value your time versus money? If you can pay, $10 to save, or to get the same results as if you spent like a day on it, you're ultimately saving a ton of money, and it's a quick way to grow. But as far as like marketing methods and stuff like that, that's what you're asking. One thing that I've never seen really done a ton by average marketers, but it's one that I think works really well, because it's one of the first things that I did a long time back when I was brand new online. It's basically being an affiliate marketer, but for coupons. And I called it being like a coupon marketer, where what you basically do, you join affiliate programs, but you would specifically look for only ones that basically offered some kind of a coupon. So affiliate networks like linkshare.com and cj.com and places like that, they have tons and tons and tons and tons of stores and stuff that you can sign up to be an affiliate for, and a handful of them have coupons. And on some of those sites, there's even special coupon links where you can see the stores that offer the coupons. And what you do is, once you have basically your coupon affiliate link, you find guys out there that are asking questions for like, hey, are there any coupons for blah, blah, blah? And you basically answer them and say, hey, yeah, here's one to save 10% on your purchase. Here's one to save basically $20 off a $100 purchase, just anything like that. And the cool part with that is, you can't get much of a better buyer prospect. If someone, oftentimes is about to check out, and they see like a little box that says enter promo code here, or anything like that, they immediately do what? They go to Google, they type in a phrase like store name, promo code, or coupon code, or whatever it might be, and they look to see what's out there. Or sometimes they'll go to like a forum or like a Q&A site and ask those questions. So you can use the lead tools to find guys asking questions for those coupons, but on the same side, you can try to actually rank for some of those coupon terms, like store name, promo code, store name, coupon code, store name, discount code, website.com discount code, website.com promo code, all those right there. You can see which ones might give you an easier chance to rank for, that have less than 3 sites that contain those exact phrases in the title tag, and just write a blog post on it. And you don't have to, you don't want a long blog post here, because quite frankly, how long does it honestly take you to say, this is the coupon code for this site? And do you think people really want to read a page or two of random text when, again, they just want their coupon link? So make it super easy. I've seen a couple guys have tried this, where they make it really hard to find their affiliate link, because they think they have to have lots and lots of content, and they think it's wrong to mention affiliate link too soon. Well, guess what? If you want a coupon code, you want the affiliate link. You want that link that you click on. You don't want to read a bunch of crap. Like, put yourself in their shoes. If you're about to buy a product and you see if there's a promo code, you go back, you do a search. You're looking for what? You're looking for that promo code or for that promo link. You're not looking to read a page or two, like an article before being convinced that you should save yourself some money. So I know it sounds like common sense when I say it like that, but a lot of people oftentimes do the exact opposite. So that, I think, can work really well, especially when you can not only find people with the lead tools asking questions on it, but you can also try to rank for those terms and such too, both on blogs and on videos and stuff like that as well. So it's kind of like a double win. And all those people that you find asking questions and stuff, again, hundreds to thousands of people or even tens of thousands of people might see the exact same questions being asked in the future that get ranked and see the answers and stuff that you gave right there. So there's a whole bunch of other tips and stuff that you can do with that, but if you just start with that, I think that's a method that's not used much but can get really awesome results for those who actually try it. All right, next question here is, what are a few things that you both have done over the years that has helped your business or businesses out the most? Well, I'd say there's
hey, partner with Brian.
What's that?
I said partner with Brian.
Oh yeah, of course. That's probably the number one thing there, right? But I'd say probably a few things that have helped the most is, one, definitely look into paid ads, because it's great to get lots of free traffic. It's great to have like affiliates, but for some of the businesses we have, I mean, really they started to grow a lot more the second we were able to rely on paid traffic more. So that's one thing that you'd want to look at. Of course, you don't want to ignore affiliates or free traffic or anything like that, because that's all good too. But you can grow both ways at the same time. The other thing too is look at how you can leverage your current client base. So if if you're selling a certain product and you're making an okay or even a decent amount of sales, instead of like looking to get into another niche, I mean, which is great if you can and if you have basically resources to do so, but before you get into like another niche, first look to see how can you expand that more by basically offering maybe other upsells or other products on the back end, or selling other products somewhat related to that your same buyers might be interested in. So in one of the businesses that we partnered with, we probably have probably like a couple dozen or more different offerings that we've slowly grown over time, and have made a lot more sales over that. The other thing too is look for partners and stuff that you could perhaps partner with to help kind of grow you as well, because there's certain ones that you might find that you really suck at one thing but you're really good at another, whereas a partner might really suck at what you're really good at but be really good at what you suck at. So look to see what you can do there, and also look to see how you can leverage off other businesses and stuff, like maybe reach out to other businesses that might be able to more easily sell your stuff or white label your services, or basically anything like that. So those are a few things right there. I'm not sure, Sean, if you have anything else to add in there.
No, I think that's a good list.
All righty. And we had a couple guys asking, what are some ideas for courses or products to create that would be in demand? Well, first off, like they didn't specify the niche, the two guys who asked this. So I'm not sure if you're just saying in general or specifically with a certain niche, but in general, I'd say just look to see what's selling now. I mean, oftentimes guys try to look to be, the first and the only of their kind, and that's oftentimes risky and sometimes a mistake, because you might spend a lot of time creating a product that no one really wants. Now, you can do research and see if guys are asking questions and they're not finding answers, and maybe that's a good indicator that you might have a decent product out there. But as far as like general stuff that like anyone could do, using the internet marketing or like the web services as like a niche, a few that you could do, like anything with SEO, with leads, anything like that usually is good. Right now there's a lot of businesses looking to do more on Facebook, whether it be create like a fan page and manage it, whether it be do Facebook ads and manage that. Those are all good, right there. More general stuff could be like anything that you can do to help a business grow more or sell more online can have huge ROI for them, because a lot of businesses out there, basically a decade ago, they were used to buying basically ads in like the Yellow Book and stuff like that, but not really getting any results off of those, and they don't really know where to advertise now. And a lot of you might not think that you know a ton, but I guarantee you know probably 100 times more than the average offline business guy, who again doesn't really know what to do. And a lot of guys still think there's no way to organically rank on Google. There's a lot of businesses that I've talked to that think the only way to rank is to pay them. So they didn't know that you could organically rank well, which to guys like us, it's like, oh well, of course you can. But again, to a lot of businesses, they don't know that stuff. Yeah, so I mean, if you're in like a certain niche or anything like that, and you are one of the two who asked that, feel free to specify, and we can try to see. But I'd say probably the number one tip there would be, look at your competition and see what they're selling, and if it's a big enough market, there's plenty of demand to either have a comparable product or try to one-up them and basically offer a better product or a better service or a more done-for-you type product or service. Or if someone has like a very cheap version of one, you could do a more done-for-you version and charge a premium on that right there, knowing that if there's a decent demand for, like, let's say a course, there's probably a decent demand for a service that does what the course taught. All right, there were a few questions on what should I focus on the most this year. Well, it depends what your goals are, but I'd say I'll basically break this down into two different scenarios. The first one will be if you have an existing business of some kind. The second one will be if you're brand new. So if you have an existing business of some kind, first and foremost, I would make sure that you spend maybe a day to get to know your numbers. There's a lot of business guys that I've talked to that don't know their numbers. Like if you ask them, how much does it cost you to acquire a lead or to acquire a sale, or how many clicks does your email list get, or basically anything like that, most of them don't know, or they give a blank stare, or sometimes they just think it's a number, but they'll be way off. I've seen guys on both ends. There's some that say their cost to acquire a sale might be like a fraction of what it really is, or they'll think it costs way more than what it actually does too. So it's like you really need to know your numbers, because if you don't, it's very hard to grow. Because imagine if imagine if you spend, let's say, $1.5 grand to make, like, let's say $3 grand. Okay, so basically double your money. But if you don't know that, if you think, hey, maybe I'm spending 3 or 4K, you might think you're losing dough, but because you don't know your numbers all that well. And I've known a lot of guys that made very poor business decisions because they thought that they were losing or making money in a certain area where they really were doing the opposite. So make sure to know that. And once you know your numbers, it's more easy to see what you have to work on. Like you might see that, hey, you get a lot of traffic to your site, but you don't convert those into a lot of leads. But you might say, hey, of the leads that you do get, a decent chunk are actually buying. So in that case, the issue might be, hey, you really have to work on a better opt-in path, or like a better opt-in page to get more leads in. Whereas a lot of guys might think, oh, gee, I just need to send more and more and more and more traffic, and they'll still be wasting tons and tons and tons and tons of traffic. So again, know that. Or you might say, hey, you sell a decent chunk of guys for, let's say a lower end front end product, but you don't make much basically after that. That might tell you, gee, you should focus on trying to have some good upsells, trying to play around with those, maybe offer different upsells or more upsells, or maybe work on the sales copy of those, and really focus on what your weaknesses are. Or let's say that you have a really great product and your expertise is on that, but you're not really a marketer or anything like that. Look for a business or someone to possibly partner with, where you handle a lot of that stuff and you hand it off to them as like a white label deal, and maybe say, hey, each week you're going to reach out to 5 different people, write them a personal email, and say, like, what your offer or your proposal is, and continue to write 5 each week until you have a deal or 2 done, and just stick to that. So usually, if you know what you're basically weak at or not all that great at, and you focus on trying to improve that with a set plan that you stick to, that's a good way to get past that and grow well. All right, there's a question here on, are there any significant changes to social media, YouTube, or Google that I should be paying attention to this year? Well, there's been a lot of changes that have happened over the years. So I'll start with a few. So on Google's side, or basically on the search engine side, more and more they're basically looking at what the user experience is, and that means that if someone clicks on your site after seeing your site ranked, they look at like how many click through, like what the percent that clicks through is compared to on like a general search, like how many click, like let's say you're ranked number 2, like what normal percentage of people click on number 2, and if you're higher or less than that, they sometimes play around with your rankings based upon that. And how long someone stays on your site, like if they click to go to your site and then immediately click back and then click to the competition and stays on that site, that tells Google that basically the competition did a better job of answering the searcher's question or their search basically query. So make sure the stuff that you try to rank for, you do a good job of basically answering and keeping them on your site. And the rule of thumb I have with that is just, make sure that you're only trying to rank for stuff that you legitimately help with, that you legitimately basically answer and solve. If you try to rank for stuff that you don't really help with or don't do a good job of explaining or actually answering, people just click back. Just like if you do a search yourself, if you click on a site that instantly isn't going to answer your question or help with the search that you did, you're going to immediately click back, and you don't want to see that site. So try to make sure to think of what to do on that. I mean, some short-term stuff is, obviously use the keywords well, have some decent content, make it super easy to read, sometimes have like a video, anything like that to just keep them on the site more. You can also have some, internal links, so that's all big right there. On the YouTube side, a couple things there is similar to the Google side. They're also looking at the user experience. So how long a person stays on, your video, how interactive that they are, like if they comment on it, or if they like it. So the more interactive you are, that is basically tells YouTube that, hey, people really like your video, and not only should they rank you well, but they should show your video to more people as well, maybe watching similar videos too. So that's kind of cool right there, and they're relying more and more on that. Facebook is kind of the exact same way. More and more they're basically looking at the user feedback, and that's why you want to be super careful with what you say and do on Facebook or on your Facebook ads and stuff like that, because you don't want to piss off those kinds of crowds, because it can kill basically the feedback on your ad and stuff, and can really kind of make things go downhill fast there. So rule of thumb is to, if you, and this, and basically all of these, it comes down to providing value. If you can provide value first and foremost, you can do very well, and you will continue to do very well. So anytime, you make a video or try to get a page ranked, or, you write an ad or anything like that, try to basically think, hey, what can I do to provide value to someone out there? Maybe it's, you can basically have a bunch of questions that you try to rank for, and then you legitimately answer those questions as easily and as best as you can right there to truly help the people out there looking for the answers to those questions. So don't overthink that, too much. All right, we had a question here on how do you figure out what price points to charge for products or services? And I thought this was a pretty good question here. And it depends. I'd say there's always exceptions to the rule, but as a whole, I think a lot of people tend to undercharge because they tend to think that if they can be the lowest price out there, that they'll make the most money. And unless you're like a Walmart, that probably won't work too well. And even in Walmart's case, there's a lot of stores like, if you look at like a Target and stuff that charge more, that still get, a lot of sales. And there's a lot of premium stores that charge like 100 times the price and still do quite well too. And it's very hard to compete against like a Walmart. You probably won't do well if your only goal is to have, a lower price than the next guy, because then when they lower their price, you lower your price more, and before you know it, you're basically paying people to buy your stuff and losing dough, which is never fun. So I'd say first and foremost, try to increase your price point. I've seen a lot of guys that have sold like, a $7 course that could easily be turned into like a $47 course. And I see a lot of guys at the $47 price range that could easily sell like a $297 course. And I see a lot of guys at the $297 price that could easily sell like a $1,000 course and such. And realistically, there's nothing really you have to change other than your price point and sometimes the way that you sell it. So like if you're selling a $7 product, you don't have to really have like, a long webinar or anything like that can actually hurt your chance of a sale with like a super low price point. But if you're selling like a $1,000 then, it's very hard to sell that in like a 5-minute video. Typically that would have to be done on like a webinar or like a longer video. But I'd say on like a webinar, if you were to turn, let's say, a $47 product into a $1,000 product and moved it from a normal sales page to a webinar, where you did a very good job of explaining the value and the benefits of it, easily trying to dumb down the presentation to where it kind of makes sense, where anyone can get how it can help them, why it's important, why they should go with you. If you answer their objections right off the bat in a logical way, that can be a great way to make a lot more. And I've also seen too what's really interesting, and I've talked to a lot of marketers that were very smart people, guys and gals, that initially thought like, hey, they can only sell basically cheaper stuff because that's what they were used to selling. And I said, okay, we'll just change the price point and see. Okay, try it one time. And in almost all the cases, they'd write back saying that they never knew that they could make that much more, and it was that easy. And there's ones that made like 3 or 4 times more. In some cases, they might get slightly less people buying, but because they're charging maybe 10 times the rate, it doesn't matter. They're actually making a lot more without changing anything. So definitely think on that. The other thing too is the more done for you can make a service or like a product, the more you can oftentimes charge, where people are happier to pay more because they feel like they get a much larger value. And oftentimes it doesn't really take a lot of extra work or basically effort on your part to make a product or service kind of more done and more complete for them right there. So definitely look at how you can try to maybe increase your price points and have basically a better product that way instead of just trying to have the cheapest one. If you're set on selling cheap stuff, which is fine. There's we sell a mix of more expensive things and super cheap things too. But if you go the cheaper route, you absolutely want to make sure that you use upsells and you have a variety of upsells, different price points and stuff like that, and really try to increase the value of like those $7 sales and such to really get that moved up a lot more, because that's really the only way that you'll realistically be able to make a decent amount of money is if you're able to get more out of those low priced products that you're essentially selling right there. So hopefully that helps you guys think of what price points to do. Now, as far as there was a question on kind of related to this, on if they're selling a service, or like an e-commerce product, like a physical product, what should the profit margin be? So I just want to quickly address that here. It's kind of along the same line, so I didn't have it as a separate question. But in that case, it depends on the price point. If this is a super expensive thing, like if it's like $1,000 or thousands of dollars, you can have a lower margin because you're making a lot more. But typically, for what most people are talking about, which is stuff that will range from like a couple bucks to let's say 50 or so for like an e-commerce thing, like a shirt or like a mug or like cat toys or stuff like that. At a minimum, I'd say try to shoot for like a 50% margin. There are exceptions to the rule. Like if you have an awesome upsell path, you can afford to have a smaller margin, on the front end, as long as you have larger margins on, on the back end there. But usually I'd say shoot for at least half right there, because that not only gives you a decent profit, makes it worth your time to fulfill that sale, but at the same time gives you some extra money for you to play with, like basically Facebook ads and stuff like that. So it can be more worth your time to play around with that. Now, as far as the service goes, if you're looking to outsource a service, again, kind of the same rule right there. I'd say absolutely try to have a minimum of like a 50% margin, if not more. I mean, if you can get to like basically 2/3, that'd be really great. There's some cases where you can get it like really high, but I wouldn't say don't do any less than half, as your margin there, and you're sitting pretty good right there. So don't overthink that too much. All right. Next one here was, what's the best way or ways to grow a business, whether you're new or experienced? Well, if you're new, I'd say set actual goals each week. Like if you, and by new I mean like if you don't have a product or anything then yet, make sure that you either know your own strengths first, and if you're not that good at making a product, try to see what's out there right now, see what you can buy or see what you can outsource easily. If it's like an info product, you can hire a guy for $50 to do an interview that you turn into a product. So don't overthink that right there, and then set basically goals each week of certain tasks that you get done, and don't linger on a certain task. Like I've seen guys that have spent years basically trying to install like a WordPress plugin, or trying to think, gee, what color should I have this site? And they'll spend months and months and months on that. I mean, that's stupid stuff to spend more than like a couple minutes on. And if you're not sure on a color, it probably doesn't really matter, especially if you don't have any sales yet. If you're stuck in like a WordPress, then hire a guy for $5 or $10 on Fiverr to do it for you and save yourself a ton of time. But then once like let's say you have a product then and you're brand new, then look for basically other people or other avenues to advertise that on, or people to basically partner with. If you're experienced and you have basically business to start with, and you have some sales and stuff, the easiest way to grow it is first look at what additional upsells and what additional other products you can offer. Maybe survey your current buyers and ask them what stuff they're looking for, what stuff they're interested in. Oftentimes people tell you exactly what they want to buy. And it might like basically dawn on you, gee, a lot of people are saying they'd buy this, maybe I should offer that as a product or a service. I've talked to like a number of businesses that have increased their sales by a great deal simply by basically selling the stuff that people have said they wanted to buy. And also like another method that, again, I've said a couple times that isn't used as much is to look for other businesses that already make a ton of sales and try to do a partnership with them. Try to have your products in the back end. See if they're interested in a white label deal. See if they're interested in any kind of deal with you. Reach out to just a handful of those each week, and eventually you'll get a couple takers. But when you think like that, you want to make sure that the deal that you make with them or the deal that you offer is a very good deal for them. Oftentimes I have guys that basically say, hey, I'll let you sell my stuff. You can do all the work. You can take all the risk. You can do all that, and I'll give you a 10% of the profit. And they wonder why no one even takes time to write them back. It's kind of like, if I walked up to you and said, hey, I have an idea. I think a steak dinner would be really nice. So how about you go out, you buy the steak, you make the steak, you cook it, you serve it, I'll eat it, but I'll let you eat 10% of the own steak that you cooked because it was my idea to have steak. I'll give you the 10% of the steak to eat that you made. And then afterwards, I'll let you clean up and do all that too, because I know you'll be so happy and excited that you're having steak because I thought of that. And if I say it like that, everyone says, that's really dumb. No one would do that. But that's what a lot of times people do, in this business is they try to do like a super low ball offer or a deal that just really isn't enticing. And, if you're basically talking to people that can make sales or have a lot of sales and can easily drive a lot, you want to make sure that it's worth their time. You want to make sure that, you handle, all this support. You make it super, super easy to, integrate with them. You have it so they don't have to do any work at all. You're far more likely to get a deal made. And the other thing too is as far as once you get to a certain point, again, you also want to look into paid ads and stuff like that. And you also want to make sure, one big thing too I've seen is a lot of people either don't have a list or they build a list and don't use it because their mindset is, hey, I don't want to annoy my list, so I'll only mail them like a couple times a year. Now, the problem with that is that it will backfire on you every time. Reason why, if you buy a random product, okay, so let's say you buy a product and therefore you're on a guy's list. If 6 months later you get an email from him for the first time, you might not even remember that you bought that product. So you'll be thinking, what? Hey, this is spam. I don't know this guy at all. You'll say it's spam, and you probably won't buy at all. Whereas if you buy a product and the same day or the next day, you get an email, then like a day or two or three later, you get like another one. You recognize that name, and you're more likely not only see a bunch of offers, but you're more likely to know who they are and more likely to buy. Now, you might not like every offer. You probably won't buy every offer. That's perfectly fine. But overall, you'll do far, far better that way versus a guy that mails like once or twice a year. And on top of that too, the more opportunities you give guys to buy from you, the more likely, again, you are to make more. And guess what? You will probably annoy a couple people. There probably will be a handful of people that say, man, I don't want to receive any emails. I'm going to unsubscribe and not buy. There's a lot of people that get super annoyed and they're super worried about, losing subscribers. But guess what? Which is better? Losing a handful of people and making a ton more sales, or making no sales and only losing a couple people? You'd rather have a list of people that are interested in you that want to buy than a list of people that haven't unsubscribed because they don't even know they're on your list yet because you don't even mail them at all, and therefore they don't buy. So again, keep those things in mind right there, and just that can help add a lot of extra revenue. And on top of that too, if you have like an established business, not only should you look at extra upsells and stuff, but look at other products and offerings that you can do kind of along the same lines. Like if you offer an SEO service, you could easily offer a video service as well. They're not the exact same thing, but people that want to buy one oftentimes will buy another one. And there's like, for any product you have, there's probably at least a dozen other related products that kind of share the same kind of prospects, but can act as completely different front-end products as well, where you can grow them separately while also sharing the same client base and the same list and stuff that you have now. All right, next up, and we're just about done with the questions we had sent in. One is, what new things do you have planned for this year, tool or product-wise? And then the question after that was pertaining specifically to WebFire. Well, as far as product and stuff as a whole goes, I mean, we've been working on a lot of updates and features for WebFire, which I'll get into on the next question, because there was a question specifically on that there. We've been also doing tons and tons and tons of work on the automated ads tool, which is a Facebook one. In fact, I just actually saw the latest round of updates there that uses like even more artificial intelligence to do some pretty cool stuff that we'll be releasing an update of that probably by the end of this week, or if not, probably towards the start of next week. So there's some pretty exciting stuff with that. We also have some other offers, you know, in the works on some other niches outside of internet marketing. And we have a few exciting things planned, you know, in the marketing niche as well, including one that, you know, we'll probably have ready, you know, within a month or two that will give you guys kind of an awesome way to give basically bonuses out or major incentives to people who buy products from you, and to also make a lot of money at the same time, as well as we're actually working on a very big kind of like a training course that you guys can get access to and have an easy way to kind of you know, not only learn a ton but make money at the same time and help others learn as well. So those are a few things that we have been working on right there. And as far as the next question right here is, what new stuff has there been in WebFire lately, and what else is coming there? I actually printed off a sheet here that actually lists off a bunch of stuff that we've done and a bunch of stuff coming. And I dropped it off my desk here, so I just need to grab it for 1 second. And there I have it. It floated off here. So as far as there's a lot of things that we've done in the last like 6 months that a lot of people haven't necessarily noticed, because we're constantly doing updates and stuff. And there's a lot of little things that, you know, we've updated that I won't mention because they're just like really small things. But a few of the big things that we've done inside of WebFire, we have 4 new different types of schemas. So we have the schema tool, which helps you look much fancier on essentially like a Google search and helps you rank better. We added 4 new kinds of schemas in the last 6 months. The new ones are, and probably the largest one is the navigation, which is one where you know, you can have like a bunch of your different web pages within your website easily show on one big search. So basically you can take up like a lot more space, you know, at the top of Google. So that's basically the navigation type. And inside of the schema tool, you can see like a preview of what those look like. We also added a schema type for events, for a Shopify site, and for real estate. So if you're like a realtor. So those are 4 new ones that we basically added on top of a bunch of others. We also added the schema to inside of the WordPress plugin that we have. We also added the schema inside of that as well. We also added not too long back, inside of the SEO configuration tool, you have the ability to add in pixels quickly and easily. So if you want to add like a Facebook pixel for basically tracking, or you want to add like a Google pixel or any kind of pixel you want to track sales and stuff, you can easily do so without being a tech guy. We also added what we call the government lead finder, which is a way to find essentially like .gov type sites and .edu sites that allow you to leave basically a backlink on them to get like extra authority backlinks. And we also, this was like a decent sized one, we also have a Google Search Console and analytics integration. So we actually integrated with basically your Google Analytics. If you want to get like tons and tons of data inside of WebFire, where it kind of combines the two of what you get there and what you can also see on our end there as well. As far as stuff that's coming soon, one thing that should be out very soon is we kind of have like, we have a bunch of lead tools inside of WebFire, and we're very close to having kind of like an all-in-one version that can search multiple lead sources all at once without having to basically open another tool to search for like another one. So that's kind of cool right there. We have most of that done now, just waiting on a few minor things there. We also have some extra lead sources that we've been looking into as well that we might add in soon. And another big one is, so right now we have the website analysis tool. Basically coming later this month, we'll have what I call the total site analysis, where instead of analyzing just a single web page at a time, you can analyze an entire site with all the pages at once in a much easier way to kind of see basically the bigger picture of the whole site. So that's a really neat one right there. And we also have some updates to the social poster. We're looking to basically add LinkedIn on that, as well as make a couple tweaks to some of the existing stuff. That's one that, again, not quite sure on timeline of that, but there's most of the stuff we should have out, probably within the first, for sure the first quarter, but probably within the next couple months or so, we'll most of the new things that I basically talked about, you'll see slowly getting done and basically added there. And when they are done, we'll do on one of these calls, we'll do like an overview of them. And of course, if you ever have any other ideas and stuff, let us know, and we'll see what we can do there. So with that, guys, if you have any other questions that were missed or anything like that, feel free to ask those now. Otherwise, you can win some cash by doing the following. First, go to our Facebook group page at getwebfire.com/FB group. And at the very top, you'll see a post from Sharon basically asking what you thought of today's call. You'll see it we'll probably say it was done like, the post will say it was like 50 or 60 minutes ago or so. So make sure you leave basically comment on that one, not on another one, because that will just get hard to track and whatnot for the winner. So again, just go to getwebfire.com/FB group. Leave a comment within the post right there, basically asking what you thought on today's call, and we'll pick a random winner. We'll actually do the drawing live in front of you in a few minutes. So if you have any comments or anything on what you thought on the call, or any suggestions on future calls or topics that you'd like, let us know. So with that, I'll let you guys do that. And Sean, have there been any other questions that popped up that you haven't answered yet?
Oh yeah, we got all kind of questions.
Alrighty.
So hang on, let me go back to the top. Okay, wait, okay, hang on. That one got answered. That one got answered. Happy New Year back to everybody that said Happy New Year. All right, so Mark asked, is there a place to search for products that are in demand?
There's, we kind of mentioned that, but the easiest way is if you look on like basically Amazon or ClickBank, you can search and see like what the best sellers are. If you're looking to like basically drop ship, you can go to AliExpress.com, and you can basically type in any kind of product name or search term you want, and you can sort by the number of products sold. So you can clearly see which ones are selling there, and that should basically give you a decent idea of what guys are actually buying.
Okay, great. And Christian asked how to check a product on Amazon before I put it in my store and on eBay. What should I look at? Christian, you're trying to like check on the competition, I assume. I know you're still on because you posted down below.
Yeah, I'm not quite sure what they're asking, but I'd say, if your question is what Sean thought, which was essentially what should you do first in terms of like maybe looking at the competition and stuff like that. Well, first, do a search for the product type that you have and see not only how many competitors that there are, but also see like what their price points are. If you're on Amazon, see if they offer Prime, because there's like a lot of people willing to actually pay a bit more to actually get basically a product through Prime versus like basically waiting like a couple weeks to a ship. And on top of that, see if they do a good job, with their images and their descriptions. I've seen a lot of people that have like very crappy images, very crappy descriptions that lose out on sales to basically guys selling the exact same thing that do a very good job of basically answering the common questions, having good photos and stuff up, and all that right there. But also, look for, basically opportunities where you think there's not necessarily a lot of competition out there, or you think there's opportunities to make your version or your product look better, and make sure that you clearly answer all the questions that the guys have. Like a perfect example is like there's like a bunch of iPhone accessories, and there's a lot of them that don't necessarily say what phones they work with. So like you might not, like, let's say you have an iPhone 5, 6, or 7, or iPhone 10, or iPhone X, as some call it, or you have like an iPhone 7 Plus versus an iPhone 7. You want to be crystal clear on what your stuff works with, because if someone doesn't know, they're not going to buy it, even if there's a refund, guarantee with it, because they don't want to risk it or take the time to find out. So they'll just go to the next guy, even if the next guy is a few bucks more, if they clearly address that it works with theirs right there. And also, like, there's a lot of ones I've seen that have like really crappy images that don't do a good job with that. So like anything that you can do to add a little more of a description right there. And one big thing I've seen too that works well is look up the competition, look up what the best sellers are there, and read the reviews, and read both the good ones and the really bad ones, and see what the bad ones are saying. So like it might be like maybe they find a certain feature of the product really bad, and you might see like a recurring theme where they all hate this one thing, and then if you can create like a new version of it that fixes that main issue right there, and then you address that in the description, saying, I'm like some of the competitors, we have this here, so this isn't an issue, and blah, blah. You can gain a lot of sales off that. Not sure if there's anything else you want to add to that, Sean, in case they wrote back to clarify yet or not.
No, they didn't. So I think we're good, and that's all the questions, and we hit an hour exactly because we're good. All
right, perfect, just as planned. All right, I'm just going to pause the screen as I switch over to Facebook page. So once again, go to getwebfire.com/FB group to join the free Facebook group there. And I'll give away some cash in a few moments here. Just going to refresh the page really quick. All righty. All right. So here are the comments, and here's the post from Sharon right here. You see it was basically dated about an hour ago. and you just leave a comment right there. Of course, we always appreciate likes and loves and shares and all that too. Always greatly appreciated, but we'll pick a random winner that has left a comment, any comment of any kind, whether it's stuff that you like, stuff that you want to see in the future, or topics, or anything at all, feel free to ask. I'll give you guys maybe 10 more seconds to leave a comment, and then we'll pick a winner. All right, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Count the ones outside first. There's sometimes people that accidentally post in the wrong one. Oh, this time, looks like we're good. Looks like everyone got it within that. All right, looks like someone's typing right now. So finish up if you're the someone typing right now. I'll give you maybe 5 seconds, and then we will pick a winner. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, they stopped right there. All right, 52. Do you have a guess, Sean? Now there's 53.
I'm going to say 53.
53, you think? All right. So 1 to 53.
It's got as good odds to win as number 1 does.
27.
Look at how close I was, man. I was going to go in the middle too. Darn it.
Right in the middle. That makes it super annoying because it's like the hardest one to actually count. Right,
and you better count right too, because everyone else is counting with you.
Yep. All right.
Except the guy who's 53, who's like, man, I like Sean.
All right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27. So Andrea C. Weber, if this is you or looks like you and you attended Hatfield Girls High School from 1960 to 1964, congratulations, you are this week's Marketing Wednesday webinar winner. So again, Andrea Weber, this is you or looks like you, you are this week's winner. So to collect your money, just make sure to, in the little chat, write your PayPal email, and Sharon will make sure to send that off to you right away this afternoon. So you'll be $100 richer as soon as you post your PayPal email up to her right there. So once again, congratulations to Andrea Weber. And guys, once more, again, I hope you all had great and happy holidays and new year and all that right there. Hopefully you guys are off to a great start and getting your goals and stuff taken care of. And once again, we have these calls every Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. So if there's any ideas or any topics that you guys would like to see covered, feel free to let us know and we'll try to do that. So with that, guys, hope you have a great rest of the week. And we'll talk to you guys later. Take care. Bye.